Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now we are joined by Neil, 10th Man, One Deck, Adam, Refracted Curvature, and a whole bunch of people in the Politics Discord server. So welcome one and all.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Nathan.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Started my intro and
Alright.
very quickly realised it probably wasn't a good idea to have a piece of chewing gum in my mouth. Got to try and stop swearing, and somebody suggested if I'm chewing gum it might help. 1 second into the intro I'm like, no, this isn't a good idea. How's everyone in politics? You all good?
Yeah, we're very well, thank you, Nathan. Just been listening to Flatsy for the last half an hour, and it's been a relatively good morning so far. A few interesting conversations through the night. Yeah, it's been good.
Thank you. You're so precious.
Shut
You
up,
know,
Flatsy.
I'm gonna tell you, Jedi, you're stinking precious.
Thanks,
Everybody that listens to you, like flat smack all of these globetards, it's so good. I mean, it's one of those things where you're just like, that tastes so good in my mouth, and other people don't have that.
Family show.
Thing is, Flatsy, they flat smack themselves, mate, when they're explaining how curvature is measured, because they will be referencing angles, elevation angles, horizontal horizons, sea levels, altitude above sea level. These are the things and terminology they use when they're trying to explain how they live on a globe. It's hilarious.
I mean, I get that. I know what you're saying, One Deck. But I'm saying that Jedi has a way, like he's got a way of getting through to these people, and you can either tell if they're, receptive to the information, or they're just willing retards.
Let's ask the
One
question.
deck.
Hold on, One Deck. Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
No.
That's why they go to the center of the earth. They don't live on a circle or a globe.
It's hard to unsee that once you know that. So all the diagrammatical examples of orbital motion are depicted from within the centre of Earth at the equatorial plane. So for you to visualise this as an audience member, or if you're in politics, if you imagine the sun-centric system being drawn out on a drawing, and you've got like a line that shows the orbital path that is claimed to be the mathematics of the Earth's movement around the sun, that line will dissect Earth. In other words, Earth's sitting with the line going through it, because that's how the motion's described, from the centre of hell, because that's how it's mathematically originating in a measurement of a flat Earth to translate it into those maths of orbital motion. So you're always in hell. You can't unsee it once you know it. Any evidence you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
No. Been asking for 10 years now, and most definitely not.
Any space believers in Discord? I had people moaning about Candace Owens saying, essentially, during her interview with Bart Sibrel, she covered the fake moon landing, but really didn't get to the nub of any of the actual issues at hand with the consequences therein, or fake space in general, or what they might be faking going forward. Did anybody see her discuss it? I didn't actually see her talking with Bart Sibrel. Did anybody see Candace Owens talking with Bart Sibrel?
Nope.
Props to Bart Sibrel for getting in front of her. I'll have to catch up with that. Like I say, I've had several people talking about it. No Candace Owens fans in the Discord server, I take it?
Who threw the sucker punch? Candace or Bart?
On, John.
I was just wondering why the most prominent people in this community are people that are not flat earthers. It's weird, isn't it?
Like Bart Sibrel.
Yeah, I'm sure that she brought him on there to talk about flat Earth, or in relation to flat Earth and the moon landings, right?
What's that got to do with flat Earth? Exactly.
Nothing. But it's a topic that's thrown in with it, because as soon as you tell a glober that Earth's flat, they'll say, so they didn't go to the moon then, huh?
Right, so it's almost a preemptive reaction to what somebody might say if you suggested Earth's flat to them, and it deals with their rebuttal preemptively. Talking about moon landing hoaxes.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the appearance that there's an argument to be had.
They talk about a lot of things, don't they, the Globers? That's got nothing to do with the measurement of Earth, like lights in the sky, things like that. But they never actually try and explain. Well, they do actually try and explain how Earth curve is measured, and they end up telling you how it's measured horizontal, flat, with angles and elevation angles using sea level, which is, I know I keep saying it, but I just find it hilarious.
Yeah, there's something else you can't unsee or unhear. Once you know that, every time one of your opponents on the globe side starts rattling off their claim to be measurements of Earth to suggest they've got a proof of a spherical claim, they rattle off a few flat Earth measurements to you. Start telling you about how high they are off surface level and things like that.
I don't think they don't realise they're doing it. I mean, I don't know how they're doing it so blasé, or they're actually so dumb they don't realise when they're explaining that they're using the elevation angle from sea level and the horizon and horizontal altitude above sea level. They're using all this terminology, and in their mind, they really do think they're explaining how they're measuring curvature.
Yeah, we should really put it out as a request. If you're a globe believer, can you stop using flat Earth measurements to assert that either Earth's spherical or Earth is not flat? It's really irritating. Stop using our measurements.
Who was that glober that come in and said these angle measurements aren't from a plane? Might have been Timmy Clown.
Might have been. He was in recently. I think he was in. Was he in here or was he in QE show? I forget. So is everybody in this server now flat then? They've all given it up. The ball nonsense.
The majority of people in here are flat. I think everybody else is a glober, is probably too scared to speak at this moment in time.
You can tell them about what happened with Embo, Jedi.
Oh, Embo, yeah, he retired. In actual fact, he came in and split up with us. Yeah, that was a bit weird, but Embo has decided not to be a part of the globe Earth, flat Earth community anymore. So there's a few of them that are taking a bow, which has been quite good.
It's because it's mentally hard to deal with if you're a globe believer. Very hard.
Yep.
Painful even.
What, even after the final hashtag experiment? They're bowing down and leaving?
Yeah.
Somebody got in touch and said that Will Duffy's doing something else in summer. And then they pointed out that, so the final experiment isn't an experiment and it wasn't final then.
Thanks, Will.
What do you expect from a fraud?
More fraud.
Well, the experiment was, I think, to observe if there were any guns in Antarctica, right?
Yeah, very important housekeeping question that we ask regularly.
No, it wasn't that. It
Is
was
there-
it wasn't an experiment. It was an observation of holes in the ground, measuring angles of shadows on the surface of the horizontal plane. McTombstone's did that, didn't he?
Yeah, McToomb measured Earth flat down there, as did they all. They all leveled their tools to a plane of reference.
Well, I think that the hypothesis is if no guns, Earth ball.
That's a
What I think
shotgun
the
approach.
hypothesis would be what causes there to be no guns?
Yeah.
Simple
Earth ball?
answer. Simple answer. Democrats.
Probably not a government sanctioned tourism type thing. Maybe that would stipulate no guns.
I mean, the sentiment of an 8-year-old comment that Toon scoured the internet to found was in regards to your ability to just go down there. As in just, oh, I'm going to go to Antarctica today. Now, likewise, if you tried to cross any border without permission, there's going to be people who are going to say no and attempt to stop you. So what is ironic in this regard, it's no real relevance to us, but on the one hand, the guys who went down to TFE want to lecture their audiences about how complicated it was and how many forms they had to fill in and all the things they had to have to go down there. And you're like, what if you didn't have them? Still go, right? And then what's the conversation following that? At what point, if you don't comport with what they demand you must do to go there, do they say, oh, it doesn't matter. It's all right, on you go anyway. Yeah? Or do they say, no, well, you can't go then? And if you carry on and go, well, I'm going anyway, what are you going to do? Shoot me? But who cares? The Earth's measured flat in Antarctica. This is a complete red herring. And that was what it was in McToon's back pocket as, a red herring. What about your 10K flat Earth challenge measurements, Toon? 100 at the time being asked, where's the guns, is the response. He doesn't want to deal with Earth being measured flat by himself, does he?
They've explained it away that he was kind of in a mental break with reality because the sun 24 hours had affected his state of mind. Like he was like seriously sleep deprived. Like all his theta waves had just depleted. So he just started like incoherent babbling.
Did you say he was?
Those are lyrics for a new song now. His theta waves were bumbling.
What did you say about that? What did you say about reality in McToon?
Yeah, a complete break with reality. He was delusional. He was basically in a dream state.
Well, hang on. So he measures the Earth flat, which causes the condition because he thinks he lives on the globe.
No, I'm talking about the call that when he called you guys and started just overwhelming screeching about where the guns are.
What I'm saying. You're not getting what I'm saying. Underlying.
Oh, okay.
He is in a complete break of reality because he has a show where he measures the Earth flat and he says, oh, it is triangulation. Like he's shocked to find out that it's not curved at all.
It's obvious you have to shut down.
You know, shut your channel, shut your.
Oh, yeah. God, it's so eloquent, like the dude's Shakespearean with his typing.
Well, slow though the start is, if there are any ballers that had any questions or wanted to get anything off their chest, feel free. Notice there's people in the live stream chat saying to ballers, you can just go on. Someone saying, the Globies get muted here or something to that effect. No, this is Politics Discord server that we're in today. I don't run it. Not that I run the server that we're typically in. That's not mine either. This definitely isn't mine. I'm a guest here. Sorry to Politics. I'm talking to my live stream audience. Very rude.
Is it possible that they think losing a debate is being muted?
Yes. Muted equals lost badly. Happened yesterday. I came into Politics yesterday.
What a shock.
Hank Hill was in here winning. And obviously he's a very patient man, taking his time as the person chants through each attempt to get his point across. And at the point of conclusion, the hand wave begins. So I stepped in and was like, well done, Hank Hill. Excellent job. Because the opponent doesn't want to acknowledge it. In fact, they want to steal his victory on the spot. Yeah? That's how it is for Glurfs. And if you don't allow them to completely steal your victory, you muted them. Oh, he only won because he muted what? During the conclusion of my victory? When you wouldn't shut up?
Yeah. They muted equals lost debate. So whenever they say muted, just think of that. And it's a lot easier to go with. Tell you what, it's not like they'd invite you on their platform, let somebody speak for 25 minutes, and when you go to rebut them, you get 2 sentences out before you're muted. That'd be weird, wouldn't it?
Or talk straight through. So yesterday I summarised Hank Hill's victory and started to correct some of the incorrect assertions made by his opponent about gravity being a force. Obviously, I started getting spoken through. Then I started to tell the guy off, and do you know what he did? Put himself on server deafen. In other words, stuck his fingers in his ears. So everybody had to tolerate his utter garbage that was wrong for 20 straight minutes, while Hank Hill was patient with him, interrupting him constantly. And then when it comes to the point, well, now let's correct what you said that was wrong, he's not tolerant of it. Bricks. They don't like being wrong. They especially don't like being told how wrong they are by a flurf about their own bloody religion. I'm sure before the live stream's over, we'll have somebody from the Discord server feel compelled to tell us about how they believe they're on a ball and we should feel the same as they do.
Yep, just give it time. You know how it goes. Give it 20, 30 minutes or so of just speaking about the flat earth and the obvious measured empirical truth of the matter. Somebody will get triggered eventually and somebody will pipe up.
Are you talking about time as an independent variable, or give it time, write some letters, give it time and you'll feel better?
None of that, please. I don't want a copyright strike.
They will fade from your mind. Okay.
That didn't sound like a sandwich.
It was the best I could do.
That didn't sound like a clean oven.
On the internet.
Very sexist, outrageous. If you're watching, Paula, from the chat, put your fingers in your ears. What about Ethereum?
The Earth's flat, and it's all been dealt with. Nothing else to do there, guys. It's over.
Have you had any influx of other flat earthers in politics since TFE? Like Ethereans, Umis, things like that?
Yeah. There's a little bit of pain within some flat earthers. Maybe the flat earth believers, as we're called. But yeah, there's been a little bit of that pain. Yeah, a couple of arguments between flat earthers, I think. Part of the game. I think that's part of the reason why the 24-hour sun in Antarctica, TFE, it's kind of the straw man that they've been building for the last 10 years or so. So there's going to be a bit of a fallout for some people seeing what they believed, even though it was a straw man, their reality being kind of demolished.
Getting told off guys in politics, specifically the one who was sexist. Elric from the chat says, Paula's not the only woman here. And see her drumming her fingers while she types that. Yeah, less of the sexism. I blame Flatsy.
It was part of a different conversation.
See, you don't have to blame Flatsy. It doesn't have to be Flatsy's fault. I can actually sing these songs, okay?
You are right. It doesn't have to be Flatsy's fault. However, I will be blaming.
But just let it be Flatsy's fault.
That's correct.
It's Flatsy's fault.
Good morning, guys.
Morning. Good morning.
Yeah.
Very, very laid back.
Yes,
There's no fighting. There's nothing. This is the most relaxed I've been all week on the show.
And also no bad mic.
Oh, it's Bad Mike in jail now.
Yes.
He's a very bad man.
in jail. What's up?
Sky.
Standard.
Mic standards.
Right, although it is very slow here today in my live stream, there's 86 people watching. Please share the show. I'm sure it'll pick up shortly. We shall see. Someone will want to get my blood pressure rising, whatever the term is.
Can I try to egg them out a little bit?
Yes, to rise. Get my blood pressure to rise. That was the word. Go ahead, John.
What
would anybody like to discuss the
No, you're going to get
locally-
immediately rumpused by Eli. Absolutely outrageous. And I hear he's a crap singer. Go ahead, John.
I was just going to invite any globe believer to talk about the locally flat plane that we measure. If you would like to expand on that, we're all ears.
Anybody in politics familiar with measuring Earth locally flat, ... because it's a ball? Feel free.
I like the way you said and expand on that, because they will be expanding on that locally flat Earth also.
Or maybe not. I mean, obviously, we can carry on in total silence also. It doesn't matter. Either's good. Just start coming in on random days.
Yes, that might be a good idea.
Because yesterday when I came in, it was all kicking off. And to be perfectly blunt, yesterday's pre-show in politics is better than today's live show. No offence.
Nathan,
Oh, yeah, no.
I just sent you some slides. Let's pick it up. I'd like to, if you want to show it in Master B on this platform.
We can do. You want to do a slideshow? Okay.
I just sent it. Sent it to you. Let's pick it up.
Yeah, go on then. It's up. Absolutely trustworthy. You can trust God's science, right?
Yeah, let's start with that one. Once I see it on screen, I could go.
Okay, just bear in mind, politics can't see this, so try and keep it brief.
Oh. All
Good.
right. So this is a Bible teacher, John Barnett. He's a very good Bible teacher, but when it comes to something like this, he makes awful mistakes. And so he's got a series on science in the Bible. I thought, okay, I'll go listen to it. Then he said something, and I responded and I said, can you please share which verse in the Bible you are referencing that specifically states the earth is rotating, question mark. I have trouble referencing it. Thank you. The first response from somebody says, simple observation and grade school mathematics proves the earth isn't flat.
That's Job 12:17.
Did I ask a question about earth being flat? I don't think so.
He asked about Bible verse, and he's giving it you quite clear and simple. You know, Job 17:12. Quote, simple observation and grade school mathematics prove the earth isn't flat. Lo, he saith to him.
I respond, he said the Bible states, meaning the teacher, the earth rotates on its axis. What verses in the Bible is he referring to? Next slide, please. So I didn't hear for quite a while. Then I say, I'm still waiting for the scriptures that our good teacher referenced from the Bible, that the earth rotates on its axis. I have done a search through the scriptures and can't locate chapter and verse. Thank you. Next slide, please. So I wait a little longer. How long will it take for my question to be answered? Question mark. So I timestamp John Barnett's statement right here from 25:16 all the way to 25:39. And he says, unified message, but not only that, any one of the 40 authors that ever declared a single scientific statement, a statement like the earth is a sphere, that it rotates on an axis and it hangs out on nothing in the universe, nothing supporting it. That's a scientific statement that was made in the earliest writings of the Bible, in the book of Job, which is probably around right after the flood, 4000 BC. So you can see he did say it. He said it's in the Bible, but he hasn't answered my question. Next slide. So I respond, waiting still longer for it. I'm still waiting for a reply from John Barnett for the scripture references that he has not cited, but attributed to the Bible, question mark. Okay, last slide on this guy. I think waiting this long for a simple scripture reference is only proving that John must have spoke outside of what scripture actually teaches us. An exegete interprets text by drawing out their original meaning, while an eisegete projects their own interpretation onto the text. So sad, my brother. Haven't heard anything, haven't checked. Had plenty of time to back up what you're saying, couldn't do it from the Bible. Any comments before we go to Danny Faulkner?
No.
Okay.
Danny's my favorite.
Next slide. This is a book Danny is selling, Create a Cosmos, What the Bible Reveals About Astronomy. Next slide, highlighted in blue. Yet, on at least 2 occasions in recorded history, the Lord miraculously intervened in the movement of heavenly bodies in order to accomplish his purposes. In Joshua chapter 10, the Lord apparently halted the rotation of the earth so that the Israelite army would continue to have daylight and be able to complete the route of their enemies, the wicked Amorites, as such. The writer of Joshua concludes succinctly, there's been no day like it before or since the Lord fought for Israel, Joshua 10:14. Notice that Danny Faulkner said that the Lord apparently halted the rotation of the earth.
By apparently, does he mean he made that up and superimposed it on top of what the text actually said?
Yes, he's eisegeting as well, like John Barnett did earlier, not letting the text say what it says. Okay, similarly, in 2 Kings 20, and cross-reference 2 Chronicles 32 and Isaiah 38. The Lord caused a reversal of the earth's rotation, such that the shadow cast on the steps of Ahaz progressed opposite to its normal direction. The miracle was given as a sign of the Lord's promise to heal Hezekiah from a deadly disease. In both cases, we observed that God altered the motion of at least one of the heavenly bodies, effectively suspending, and then says by supernatural means, of course, the physical laws at play. Despite efforts to account for these events in terms of purely natural phenomena, no compelling explanations have been set forth. Yet, this is truly unnecessary. After all, we must realize, for the God who created everything in the heavens, the miraculous suspension of physical laws so as to bring about his purposes in these rare instances is really nothing at all. Both these astronomical anomalies are discussed in more detail in chapter 6 of this book. So in both cases, they say the Earth's rotation on an axis or halted the rotation of the Earth. But the scriptures never say that. So the reason I bring this up is because I caught a part of that show where he and Will Duffy and the other guy from Answers in Genesis were calling us, flat earthers, a cult because we use measurements to make a point or an argument. So can you be a cult if your supporting database is a measurement? I mean, I take a measurement and I get to be called a cult now? When they go into the Bible, instead of exegeting, they eisegete, put their own opinion in, and change the word of God. That's what cults do. Cults are based around a charismatic leader or an ideology that's opposite of the Bible when we're talking about religious cults. So we have Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's very charismatic, and then he says things, but he's not claiming to be a Christian. Then we got Christians who are astronomers or Bible teachers who say things that aren't in the Bible. The last slide that I have here is also from Answers in Genesis. And this is them referring to NASA going back through their mathematical, historical whatever to say these are what the luminaries did thousands of years ago, and we know it by this or that. And this is what he says. The fact that NASA computers have not proved the account of Joshua's long day does not mean that there was no miracle at the Battle of Gibeon, as recorded in the book of Joshua. We know that God's word is inspired. Well, really, God's word is inspired, but you had to add something to it. Both of them did. Therefore, we know that the Bible is authoritative in all things. That's right. For a Christian, it is, including history. Since Joshua 10:12-14 tells us God performed this miracle, we can be assured that indeed he did perform this miracle. I absolutely know he did. As Joshua 10:14 described it, there's been no day like it before or since. My question is, why do these modern Christian leaders who are affected by scientism have to go and eisegete scripture when the scripture doesn't say it? Why can't they just exegete and let us just hear God's word the way God authoritatively spoke to the prophets? I'm done.
I agree 100%.
Did you call that pseudoscientism or scientism?
I said scientism, but pseudoscientism, all of that, obviously, if it's not the scientific method.
What's up, brother? Good to hear you, bro.
Okay. It certainly didn't trigger anyone from the Discord server, unfortunately.
We do I had a couple of requests in the side chat, just waiting patiently to speak, but I haven't had any replies to asking them if they're ready. But Terence, if you're by your microphone, my friend, this might be a good opportunity because you wanted to speak. I asked you earlier. If you're next to your microphone, my friend, just say hi so we know you're there.
Okay, hi there. Can you
Hi,
hear me?
Terence. Yeah, we can hear Terence. Welcome to the show. I'll pass you over to Nathan. Nathan, this is Terence. Terence, this is Nathan.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hi there. This is my first time on the Discord, but I'm pleased to be here.
Cool. Did you have a question?
Well, it's kind of a general question, but yeah, my situation is I've been interested in the topic for some time, and I'm keen to learn. I've gravitated to the channel here because of your stance and the angle of the Earth is measured flat. That makes sense to me. And I'm at a situation where I'd like to learn more. But I've been watching a lot of the shows, but I find a lot of it, I'm just looking for somewhere where I can go and learn about what you're saying. For instance, about the fact that the Earth is mapped by looking at the stars, and I'm just looking for a way that I can learn about that. I'm finding when I watch the shows, a lot of it's going over my head, and just looking for somewhere to start.
I've actually got a book coming out, hopefully by Easter. That would be an excellent place to start, but I can't flog it yet. So
that's very frustrating. I want it now. Yeah, that would be perfect. I did hear you mention that, and
most of my,
I mean, you know, there's got to be other sources out there, right? The problem I'm having, right, is that I'm minded to get a book about the night sky or something. But how do you do that with avoiding them talking about lots of nonsense, you know?
Well, you can't. I mean, we got 10th, the guy was talking a moment ago on the panel, and he spent quite literally thousands of dollars on books about the sky and about navigation. And often in those books that were presented to us, they're being presented from the position that their author believes Earth's a sphere, will explain how Earth's measured flat, and then on page 125 justify how you could use those flat Earth measurements with respect to a ball. Here's the complicated process that would be required to do so. So you will get nonsense in these books. Most of the things that are flashing by on my screen at the moment to audiences describing flat planes have come from globe-leaning books, if you want to call them that. Right, 10th? I'm just queuing my compadre to...
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to forget.
Hold on, Flatsy.
I don't want to forget this point,
hold on.
at least.
Flatsy, thanks. Go ahead, 10th.
Yeah, to the caller, welcome to the show, and keep searching. Yeah, all the books on celestial navigation or sextants, anything, is always referencing a plane of reference where it's 0 to 90 degrees. Now, you can't have 0 to 90 degrees on the globe's surface in navigation because each degree is a distance in nautical miles. So if you're referencing the full 90 degrees, say a star or sun at the horizon from the zenith of the observer holding the sextant, that would equate to 5,400 nautical miles on that frame of reference, which is a 180 straight angle. So can you possibly have 5,400 nautical miles on the surface of Earth if it's curving 8 inches per mile square according to their 3959 radius of their paradigm globe? No, the answer is obviously not. So this locally flat doesn't make sense because locally flat is whatever degree times 60 nautical miles on the plane of reference. Remember, you're using a plane of reference because you're referencing that plane. They never use curvature to reference anything. So in all the books, they're proving flat Earth, but they're doing a transformative equation as refracted curvature, who's on the show now, proved with his kitchen. He turned his kitchen floor into a globe by doing the same trick they do after measuring Earth flat.
Well, that sounds like a very succinct explanation. It's still you know, finding it hard to process. I just need to,
I'll tell you why.
take some time and think through it.
I'll tell you why if you give me a minute. You're new to the subject.
Okay.
You want the full answer right away. It's not going to be that way. You have to put time, some sweat equity into it. So yes, it's hard to process now. I'm almost done. It's hard to process now, just like it was when I went through my first navigation book. But keep at it. You will process it.
Yeah, that's okay. Fair enough. I'm willing to do it. You know, it's just I just don't know where to start because, like you say, you know, I've been looking for books where to start, and I'm worried that 90% of it's going to be nonsense. But then I've watched a lot of, I watched quite a few videos on the channel here, on Nathan's channel and QE as well. But I did find that it was, a lot of the discussion always started, I couldn't get on the ladder, it was sort of, always started at a particular level and I just needed to learn the basics. So, yeah, but I just need to, find some books, like you say, and sit down and go through it. Celestial navigation books, that sounds like a bit of I don't want to learn how to navigate by the stars, but perhaps that's necessary, is it?
Well, necessary for knowing Earth's measured flat, if that's the process. I mean, the title of the book that's coming out in Easter is All Roads Lead to a Flat Earth. In other words, it doesn't really matter which measurement you pick. At some point, if you're referencing Earth, it will be measured flat. So at this point, you're like, well, where do I begin to find a measurement that proves Earth's flat? Well, all of them. You just have to do a little bit of digging in any of them and you'll eventually find your way to a flat Earth. Hence the title of the book being All Roads Lead to a Flat Earth, because they do. All measurements of Earth are flat.
This may bend your mind a little bit, but even Earth curve mathematics that are the basis of their belief of a physical or a geometric obstruction utilizes Earth as a flat plane.
Yeah, I've heard that said before, and I can believe it. So I just like to look forward to looking into this myself and starting. And it sounds like you're saying celestial navigation is getting a book on that is a good place to start.
Yeah, maybe
perhaps I'll do that.
Maybe. I mean, a lot of the information about that's boiled down in terms of what we do cover. But I would say, actually, yes, 10th celestial navigation information is fantastic. And it's taken me personally a long time to take it in from 10th, who's got, as I say, about $5,000 worth of books or $5,000 worth of investment in celestial navigation books to be able to give us some of that information. So maybe not from that point of view. However, what John just said, or refracted curvature just said to you, is probably more pertinent because it's a relation to what I said, which is if you look close enough, you'll see a flat Earth measurement, and Earth curve has a measurement from surface level, your height, and the difference between the parallel eye level and surface level. Well, all of the things I've just said exist in Earth curve mathematics and require Earth be a flat plane. So your height above surface level that's inputted into Earth curve maths requires you actually acquire how high you are off a plane, because the difference that you're going to calculate requires a parallel eye level parallel with what? Surface level. So there's several flat Earth measurements that have to take place for you to assert that you can see curve below surface level in their maths. So I would say the best place to start is actually looking at how Earth is measured flat in Earth curve mathematics, because their extrapolation of Earth curve comes from measuring the surface flat. That would be where I would begin.
That's really helpful. Is this to do with the fact that it's a triangle and it's necessary to measure an angle, and an angle has to be two straight lines? Is that it?
Not exactly. I mean, it's unlike the elevation angle. This is a depression angle. So you're calculating how much the horizon, which is where the surface, which you're raising up from and measuring your height from, how much your parallel eye level will dip to that surface level once you raise above it. That's how the mathematics of Earth curve, claimed to be the end result of this maths, works. So you're calculating a dip or depression angle to the surface level. Yeah, you need a flat Earth to claim this Earth curve.
He
Sorry,
needs to.
but are you
Hold on,
talking
hold
about
on, Tenth. Just
the
let him
effort-
respond. Hold on,
the-
Tenth. Go ahead.
Are you talking about the Earth curve maths, about curvature? Are you talking about the mathematics, which is about trying to calculate how much curve there is? And
Yes.
are you talking about? Yeah, is that it?
Yes. It's just called Earth curve maths. It exists in several formats. All of them are exactly the same in essence. But yes, that requires a flat Earth.
Calculates the degree of curve.
But you can't have a degree of curve.
The degree of curvature.
As a turn of phrase, yeah. The curve that they're asserting in that maths exists below a surface level that's measured. It's even labelled in their maths. If there's a diagrammatical example next to the maths, it'll show you surface level and eye level, and then there'll be a point below surface level marked with an X labelled horizon, claimed to be Earth curve, existing mathematically below a flat measured surface level.
Right, so it's relative to the flat surface level.
Yes.
And what's the problem with that?
You need a surface level.
And so what?
Level's a horizontal plane in that mathematics. That's the problem. Do they assert that mean sea level is a horizontal plane, or does level curve around the ball?
Yeah, they're measuring a surface level to claim that surface level bends, but surface level's level, and they measure it level to then say that there's a point below the surface level that they measured level that they've calculated based on raising to a height that's referenced to a surface level to say how much Earth curve will be below the surface level in the calculation. So you need multiple measurements of a surface level in order to assert that you've got a curve below it, orthographically in mathematics.
Oh, so the first thing is you need a measurement of the level thing in order to begin. That's what you're saying.
It's not that you need to. It's part of the axiomatic principle that you're utilizing to claim there's a curve. You're deriving it from a surface level. If you want to say, well, what are you measuring with respect to surface level? Your height above it in their maths is something that you'd have to suggest if you were going to claim to be worthwhile values into those maths. You'd measure your height above sea level. But you need a sea level to measure a height from, because you're going to be utilizing your eye level parallel with surface level once you've measured your height above sea level. Can you hear all these level? These are all things that you must measure to then punch those values into Earth curve maths to show a curve below the level that you measured.
I don't see a problem if it's mathematical and like just drawing a mathematical line. If it requires a horizontal line, if it's a concept, I don't see the problem with that.
What do you mean?
That's the problem. The problem is that Earth curve itself is the concept, right? Go back and forth long enough with a Grover, and what they'll tell you, the curve, aka the geometric horizon, only exists in the math. That's actually a Grove quote.
Yeah. So the point.
Understand the problem.
Yeah, the point marked with an X labelled horizon in their maths only exists in their maths. The horizon that we actually measure is horizontal, representing the surface level meeting it is the point that you're calculating with parallel eye level with it. It's all flat Earth prerequisites, flat Earth measurements.
Right, and the conceptual horizontal is comporting to our experience of level being axiomatically tied to horizontal. So that's what makes it a measurement, is because you have your conceptual unit horizontal, what you experience. Ta-da! Earth has to be flat for you to believe you're on a globe.
And once you, and on top of that, once you got a measurement, it's no longer about belief, right? Because if you take a tape measure your table 10 feet long, you don't have to believe your table's 10 feet long. You've measured it. You know it because you used an established reference, right? So there's no belief involved anymore. That's why we just say it's measured flat. That's it. It's a wrap after that.
What's the name of the caller? What's your name again?
It's Perry.
Hey, Perry. Nathan, walk them through the black swan because that's essential. Because their claim is Earth curves at a certain point based on the observer's height and feet. And when that is not reality, you tie that knowledge to a concept that's only mathematical. And then you say, well, how do you measure anything? And they need a equatorial plane, so they take you to the middle of the Earth, which is not the surface that they're saying you're on. So they transpose a tangent plane on the surface, but that's not the surface. If you're saying I live on a curved Earth, then why aren't you measuring the curvature of the Earth? Oh, we did. It's 1.22 times the square root of the observer's height and feet. Yeah, but that's false according to Black Swan. That's not real.
Okay, so what I'm being asked to do, Terry, is explain that the maths that I'm pointing out requires a flat Earth to be measured was debunked in 2020 with the following logical consistency. If Earth is a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles, then every distance to that horizon I was describing below surface level, called Earth curve, must be no more than 1.2
Shut up, you
times.
nigger.
Go ahead.
They need to mute that guy. He said, shut up, you, and you used the N word.
It's already gone.
He's already gone, boss. You're fine.
No worries. If the Earth's a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles and every distance to horizon measurement can be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, distance to horizon measurement in an image we called the Black Swan is beyond the geometric limitations of a sphere Earth radius 3959. Therefore, the horizon's not Earth curve. Earth's not a sphere. However, they will require a flat plane to assert that calculation after the fact. There you go. That's where I'd begin. I wish I knew that.
Thank you.
8 years ago.
8 years ago. Why do you say that?
Hold on.
Because I spent a significant period of time debating as though the mathematics had any value, like they were actually elucidating Earth curvature. So the debate we had, I say we because there were several of us on the debate panel at the time, was around an island here, the Isle of Man, which you may or may not be familiar with. And we debated with the Earth curve maths within the context of there being Earth curve to debate about. So if I'd have known Earth's measured flat to make those assertions, and the distances that are asserted in the Earth curve maths also require a horizontal baseline for them to be linear distances. So every aspect of Earth curve maths, distances, heights, it's all reference to a plane. If I'd have known all that, it would have saved a lot of bother arguing about stuff that's insignificant now.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, obviously you just described something about the Black Swan there and everything, but I don't know if you're aware, but you say it really quickly, and I'm just I have watched some of the videos about that. Perhaps I just need to go back and watch some of them, but it sounds like I'm going to take your suggestion about looking into the Earth curve calculations. That's what I'm going to do. That sounds like a really good place to start. Thank you for that.
Well, not Earth curve calculations, specifically the flat Earth required within them.
Okay. It sounds like I need to grasp that concept then about how that false assumption that is there.
Well, no, the false assumption, when you say that, it makes it sound like something's being assumed incorrectly. But they're not. They're just measuring it flat.
Oh, you mean it? You say they're measuring it flat?
Yeah.
What's the measurement that's being done?
Height.
Height of, you
There's
said the height
a couple.
height above the surface?
Depression angle from eye level to where surface level appears beneath the sky. Like Nathan said, height, which is with respect to a flat plane, and your eye level, which is parallel with the surface.
I thought you were going to talk about. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I thought you were going to talk about the measurement from the Polaris.
Yeah, that's just a different measurement. The Polaris measurement for latitude, you mean?
Yeah, I thought you were talking. Yeah, the core of it was to do with mapping. How we map out using the stars and the angles, those angles. So
yeah, elevation angles.
It doesn't sound like you're talking about that.
Yeah, I mean that again, you don't need to necessarily learn anything other than what an elevation angle measurement is. So you're like, well, should I go and get a celestial navigation book? Well, no, not necessarily. Just know what an elevation angle measurement is. So if I define it for you, I've got lots, but I'll just read out one. The altitude angle, sometimes referred to as solar elevation angle, describes how high the sun appears in the sky. The angle is measured between an imaginary line between the observer and the sun and the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. Sustainable by design altitude angle. So if you know how an altitude angle is measured, then you understand that there's a prerequisite for a flat plane for it to be an angle. So in the case of the latitude system, you're using that principle of an elevation angle measurement with Polaris to form that system.
Right. So it requires a flat plane. Right. When you say that, that sounds like a mathematical concept. So, yeah. Why is that? What's the problem with that?
Why do you keep asking me what the problem is? There isn't a problem. It's a definition of an elevation angle measurement. I'll bring your attention to two words specifically. Measurement. When regards the angle is measured between, and then the next bit I'll draw your attention to is the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. That's not a problem.
Oh,
it's
right.
just in requirement of a horizontal plane to be standing on to make this measurement.
Oh, right. Okay. It's
Sorry
really...
to interrupt, Terence. Are you in the side chat that we have on the Discord? I've put the citation that Nathan's speaking about with a small diagram in it. If you want to look at that and understand what's said, then it's just in the side chat. You know where the side chat is, right?
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.
No, I think the pennies just dropped here a bit. So it actually, okay. So it says, it's a measurement with a flat plane. It actually says that. Okay.
Yeah, any Earth measurement will require Earth be a flat plane to measure. It's intrinsic to all of them.
Wow.
Think about it like this,
Okay,
right?
well,
That's definition.
pretty fundamental.
Hold on, just a second, whoever that is in G+. It's one more time, Terry.
It's pretty fundamental. So tell me, how is... how does anybody... why is that done? How can...
May I try?
Just let him get his question out. Whoever's interrupting him, please don't. Go ahead, Terry.
Right, so you just read that out. It's obviously, I'm just saying, it's blindingly obvious. It says it's a flat plane, okay? How can anybody say that it's anything else than that?
They can't, because that's how it's done. When I say it, I mean Earth measurement. Earth's measured flat.
So maybe up until this point, you didn't think that many people were gullible and easily deceived. I mean, that's how deception is usually done, right in your face. No. You're just told.
You're just assuming.
What do you mean? No.
Because you're assuming that. You don't know anything about this man.
Assuming what? No, I'm not talking about what the hell. Did I address that to him, or did I say typically, like the Western world that believes in a globe, all of this information has been in their face the entire time? When we were talking about this years ago, Wasn't it Rumpus giving us a plane and us literally walking past that because we didn't see it back then?
Yes, for Terry's
That's
benefit.
my point.
No, very good point. So just to Terry, right? What Eli's pointing out is that it's on screen now for my audience. Actually, I'll just pause this slide. While we were using the information I've got presented to my live audience, right? It's 105 of them looking at this now. You can see surface level and eye level parallel with surface level. That's how this maths functions. So when you say, well, how could this be the case? Well, it has always been the case because Earth must be measured flat. It's flat. That's how it functions. We just didn't notice. So when I said, oh, I wish I'd have known this however many years ago, it's because of exactly what's on screen now. You don't see the wood for the trees. It's in the maths. It says it right there. Surface level. Flat dotted line. I didn't notice. Neither did anybody else. We just carried on assuming that this point below it, marked with an X and labelled horizon, was the point that we saw in the distance. When in the maths itself, it's got a dotted line labelled surface level. So how could this be? Yeah, amazing, isn't it? How did you not notice? We feel the same. How did we not notice this?
Is this where it comes in, though? It's so big, it can be assumed it's flat.
Okay, yeah, and when a globe believer says that to me, I go, okay, so you accept that we measure it flat then? The bit about it being big is just a, baseless assertion at that point, because you haven't got any measurements of it being a big ball. We've just got measurements of it flat. And then after the fact, they apologise for how flat they must measure it by saying, yes, I concede, I must measure Earth flat, but that's only because it's really big. What, really big and flat like you just measured it? Oh, no, I'm just going to assume by pure fiat that me measuring it flat means it's a really big non-flat surface. No, you've only got one measurement, though, and the measurements are always flat. Their apology for measuring it flat is that I'll assume it's a big ball anyway, even though I just measured it flat.
Right. The rebuttal is a special pleading to say that.
That's what I was fishing for. God damn it. I couldn't think of the fallacy off the top of my head. Precisely. Well done, John. It's a special pleading fallacy. Exactly.
Right.
Special pleading fallacy.
Right. To say that what we already know and experience, outside of that, the situation has changed to contradict what we know and experience. That can't happen. That isn't true.
We all know in the daytime, people, generally are skin covered and stood upright. However, when everybody's asleep and no one can see and observe, there are certain humans that run around on all fours like wolves. Now, you don't get to see them because you're asleep and it's nighttime. What's that you say? It's been proven that there is no such thing as transformation of humans. Well, no, it happens when you're not looking. Why? Well, because they've proven that there aren't any, that means that there are. I've proven it's measured flat, that means it must be really big and a ball. No, you just proved you measured it flat, and there's nothing beyond your measurement to assert that. It isn't flat.
Earth curve is always everywhere you're not looking or measuring.
Like the werewolves.
Hey Nathan, would you agree that the only way to actually put a toy globe on your desk or even craft that thing, you gotta start with a flat map Earth and a projection based on celestial observation, which is based on flat Earth measurements, which shows that the dependency of a globe cult belief system is on flat Earth?
Yeah, well, I couldn't have put it better myself. Yes, globe belief is dependent on flat Earth measurements. The origin of the globe's creation are those flat Earth measurements. So, but for the flat Earth measurements, you wouldn't have a globe to believe in. Yes, you put it better than I could have.
May I point something out as well?
Just one sec, John.
Later.
Hold on, I think there was a further point to that. Go ahead.
So it would be fair for me to say that, and I'll be quick, when I want to craft a toy globe for my desk, the basis of it is to have a flat map that I slice up and wrap around a ball, right?
It's a bit more complicated than that with Havasine conversion, projection, first based on the celestial hemisphere. But yes, in principle, if you like, oversimplified, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like just in principle, simplify, right? And also in regards to the usage, right? The practical use, every map utilizing practical use is always utilizing a planar grid system. Period.
Yeah. Sorry, who are you? I like you.
Clay under seal.
Very concise, Clay.
I like to go
There is
after
nothing.
John.
Anyways, there was someone else wanting to comment.
I'll go after John.
Remember, when you look at measurement, if someone shows you a calculation that contradicts the measurement, the calculation's wrong, not the measurement. People have forgotten that.
What I especially like is when you point out the flat measurement in their globe example, and then they start to decry their own measurement. Like, well, it's not a measurement then. It's like you're using this to assert that you've got a ball beneath your feet. I'm pointing out that the bit you're using is a flat measurement, and now you don't want it to be a measurement, and you don't want it to be Earth, and you don't want it to be the ground. It's your example. Like this on screen. Like, okay, right, so we've got 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, and the height's off surface level and parallel with it, right? Okay, gotcha. And that 1.2 times the observer's height in feet is the distance to this geometric physical limitation in this view in orthographic. Right, gotcha. You've got to measure Earth flat for that. There's surface level, you need that. You need to measure your height above it. You need the eye level to be parallel with surface level for this maths to work. It's not the ground! We're not measuring anything! That's what you get.
See, every time they want to invoke modern technology in reference to navigation as an example, the funny thing is what they don't understand is they simultaneously always invoke longitude, latitude, and meridian lines, which are fundamentally based on the principle of ladder of measurements.
Yep.
And this is the absurd irony of it all. The only way you can have your imaginary things in your head working about a ball is by utilizing the Earth for what it in reality is, which is a flat topographical planar surface. This is what the globers gotta understand. This stuff is all based on the reality of what Earth actually truly is. So all your GPS, navigation, charts, everything as an inertial reference system within aircrafts is all based on planar surfaces. Nothing more, nothing less.
Yep, absolutely correct.
That's why. That's why they use the equatorial plane, because that's what it is. So the raw data is from flat Earth angle measurements. What happens is they convert that through a transformation. It's a conversion to make it a globe. It's an afterthought afterwards. It's not from the raw measurements. So now they put you in the arc of the protractor rather than saying, oh, by the way, he was standing on the baseline when he held the sextant and measured the star's angle against a horizontal plane that has a maximum of 5,400 nautical miles of straight line, linear.
I love this. I just caught this from, I don't know what the discussion's going on in my live stream chat, but Super Blaze, quote, because the geoid surface cannot be directly observed, heights above or below the geoid surface can't be directly measured and are inferred, end quote. You're like, as soon as I read it, I thought, above or below? You'll need a flat plane for those. But I can only imagine that he's responding to some zealot in the chat. Shout out to you, Super Blaze.
Yeah, all descriptions of what we experience will be with respect to a plane of reference, whether it be your eye level, surface level. There will be a plane of reference that you use to describe up and down with. Now, that is not necessarily a horizontal plane. You can tilt your head sideways and describe things wrong to people, but if your head's vertical, which is with respect to a horizontal plane, then you can give accurate descriptions to other people. That's why measurements are so important. It allows us to share knowledge with others. You can't even talk about this without a flat Earth.
Indeedy.
Yes. Well, see, the truth is self-evident. It's out there. It's undeniable. The only thing people can do is twist it, pervert it, mock it, or just furthermore in their own unrighteousness push it down. But the truth is, when you say sea level, the word itself is giving testimony of what it is describing. The same goes for the horizon, which refers to horizontal. The same goes for gas pressure, which means you have the word pressing in it. There's the requirement and the self-explanatory term in itself. It testifies of the very thing that it requires. Therefore, any other attempt to talk around it, pervert it, in unrighteousness, furthermore, is absolutely foolish and utterly giving testimony of your incapability of actually accepting reality for what it presents itself to be. That is the truth.
Yeah, the truth is Earth's a flat plane. That's exactly how it's measured. But with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So another massive thank you to all of you who liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, maybe joined the Politics Discord server, and all that good stuff. Another massive thank you to my G Plus panel. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.